The morning sunlight crept gently into the chic apartment nestled in downtown Chicago. The space was spotless, white marble countertops, matte black cabinets, potted succulents in every corner. A candle burned near the window, scenting the kitchen with sandalwood and vanilla. Thank you for joining. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Emma moved with graceful routine, flipping pancakes with one hand, adjusting the kettle with the other. She always found peace in these early hours. She wasn't just making breakfast. She was crafting care, a rhythm of devotion. 2 eggs, perfectly sunny side up. 2 slices of turkey bacon. The pancakes, fluffy and warm, were topped with fresh strawberries and a drizzle of maple syrup. She glanced at the clock. 7:45 a.m. Right on time. Derek walked in, clad in a pristine charcoal suit, silk tie already knotted, and phone glued to his hand. "Morning," Emma said with a gentle smile, brushing a curl from her face. Derek muttered, not looking up. Emma tried not to feel it. This was their ritual. He was always grumpy in the mornings, right? She placed a plate in front of him with care. "Made your favorite. Extra strawberries." Still scrolling, Derek pulled the plate closer. MMHMM. Emma sat across from him with her cup of tea, resting her chin on her hand. "You have that investor pitch today, right?" she asked. He grunted again. "Yeah. High-stakes client. Do you feel prepared?" "I don't have time for this right now, Emma," he said sharply. "Can we not do the small talk thing?" Emma blinked, slightly taken aback. She stared at him, the man she married 5 years ago, the one who used to listen to every word, who danced with her barefoot in the same kitchen. That man had become a stranger in an expensive suit. That evening, the apartment transformed into a small cocktail mixer. Derek had invited 3 of his colleagues and their partners over for drinks and networking. Emma, despite having no warning until that morning, managed to whip up hors d'oeuvres, clean the apartment, and wear her navy cocktail dress, the one Derek had complimented the first time he saw her in it. Laughter floated through the living room. Everyone had a drink in hand. Emma stood by the bar cart, refilling glasses. "So, Emma," said Claire, the sharply dressed wife of one of Derek's colleagues, "what do you do these days?" Emma smiled politely. "I work as a consultant in back-end tech and AI development, mostly freelance. I also teach yoga twice a week." "Oh, wow," Claire said, surprised. "That's quite a combo." "She's being modest," Derek chimed in loudly, strolling over. "She mostly stays home and thinks about starting things." Emma's smile tightened. "That's not." "It's cute," he continued, smirking. "She has all these little projects she dabbles in. But hey, it keeps her busy, right?" Claire let out an awkward chuckle. Emma felt her ears burn. "Actually," Emma said, trying to recover, "I consulted for 2 startups that just closed seed rounds. One's entering Series A in Q4. Derek waved her off. "It's all volunteer work, really. She's not making anything from it." "I do get paid," Emma said softly. He grinned and kissed her cheek patronizingly. "Babe, don't stress. It's fine. Everyone knows you're the artsy one." Emma stood frozen, eyes locked on his, heart thudding. Later that night, while Derek laughed with his colleagues, Emma stood at the sink, scrubbing the wine glass harder than necessary. "Why would you say that about me?" she asked quietly once the guest had gone. "What?" he said, tossing his jacket on the couch. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." He shrugged. "Relax. It was a joke. They knew I was teasing." "It didn't feel like teasing." "You're being sensitive again." "Emma, they don't care. You don't have to prove anything." "I wasn't trying to prove anything," she whispered. "I was trying to exist." The next morning, Derek left early. He didn't say goodbye. Emma dressed in silence, black slacks, a wine-colored blouse, low heels. She looked at herself in the mirror, corporate, poised. She hadn't dressed this way for him. She dressed this way for herself. In the garage, her Tesla Model S waited, parked behind the neighbor's hedge, out of Derek's sight. He didn't know she had it. He thought she drove her old Camry to yoga. 40 minutes later, she pulled into the underground parking garage of Ironvale Technologies, one of the top 5 cybersecurity firms in North America. The guards waved her in. "Morning, Mrs. Brooks." Emma nodded. "Good morning." The elevator opened on the 36th floor. Glass walls, minimalist decor, and the Ironvale logo gleamed like polished steel. Her assistant, Nora, stood ready. "Boardroom is prepped. Financial from Oslo came in late last night." Emma nodded. "Forward them to my office. Any issues with AP?" "Not yet." "Oh, and there's something else," Nora added hesitantly. Emma raised a brow. "A new consultant is onboarding. From Caraway Partners. Name's Derek Brooks." Emma froze. Nora blinked. "Is your husband?" Emma confirmed. "Or was." She exhaled. "Schedule his orientation. I want to lead it myself." That night, Derek returned home late. Emma had cooked salmon, couscous, grilled zucchini. Candles flickered on the table. Derek dropped his keys and looked around. "Date night?" he asked sarcastically. Emma smiled. "Just wanted us to eat together. Didn't know I was dating Martha Stewart." He pulled off his jacket, sighing. "I had a crazy day," he said, sitting down. "I'm working on a transfer to Ironvale. Big opportunity. Huge firm." Emma nodded. "I know Ironvale." "You know it." He laughed. "It's not a yoga studio, Em. This is high-level tech." Her smile didn't fade. "I'm aware." He smirked. "Cute. You Googled it, huh?" She wanted to scream, but she didn't. Instead, she said softly, "You never ask what I actually do. You just assume." "Emma," he said, gesturing with his fork, "you've spent years pretending to be some part-time coach, floating between hobbies. Don't blame me for not taking it seriously." "You never even looked at my work," she said. "Because it's not real," he replied coldly. "You want real? Get an office, a title, employees, clients. Then we'll talk." She stared at him. "You want real?" she asked. He didn't respond. She stood. "You'll get real very soon." 2 mornings later, Emma stood in front of the mirror. She wore a fitted black coat, her suitcase at her side. She'd had enough. Derek came out of the bathroom. "What's going on?" he asked. "I'm leaving." "Leaving where?" "Out of this house. Out of this marriage." He frowned. "Seriously." She didn't flinch. "You've made it clear I'm a burden, so I'm removing myself." He scoffed. "You're not built for that. You've been living off my income for years. Who's going to pay your rent now?" She laughed softly. "That's what you think, isn't it?" "I know it," he said. "You don't have a real job, Emma. You don't have a plan. You don't even have a car in your name." She smiled. That smile scared him more than anything. "Derek, I could buy this entire apartment complex 10 times over." He blinked. "What?" "I've been building something. Quietly. You never saw it because you never looked. But I promise you, the next time we meet, you'll be standing in a hallway, and I'll be the one behind the desk." She turned to go. Derek stepped forward. "You think I care about your girl boss fantasies? Go ahead. Leave. But when you're broke, crawling back, I won't be here." She turned one last time. "I won't need you to be." And then she walked out, with her power, with her peace, and with a storm following her. The sky was still painted in early morning gray when Emma wheeled her suitcase out of their building. Her breath came out in wisps against the cool Chicago air. Her hands didn't shake. She felt lighter than she had in years. The doorman, Paul, looked up from his post, surprised. "Mrs. Brooks." Emma smiled gently. "It's just Emma now." He looked at her suitcase. "Everything all right?" She hesitated, then nodded. "It will be." She stepped into her sleek, deep blue Tesla Model South parked across the street, a car Derek never knew existed. Her name was the only one on the title. She'd kept it in a private lot near Ironvale HQ since the day she bought it. Something told her she'd need it one day. As she drove, The city came alive around her, the smell of bakeries opening, the soft rumble of buses, joggers weaving through sidewalks. But she wasn't just heading to work. She was heading to war. At Ironvale Towers, Emma stood in the elevator alone, watching the numbers tick upward. 34, 35, 36. The ding echoed as the doors slid open. "Good morning, Mrs. Brooks." Malia, her executive assistant, greeted her with a warm smile. She handed her a tablet. "Morning, Malia. What's on deck?" Investor update, hiring reports, and the schedule for the new consultant from Caraway. Malia paused. "Your husband?" Emma raised an eyebrow. "Ex-husband." Malia gave a sly grin. "Even better." Emma walked into her office, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows and a panoramic view of Lake Michigan. She poured herself a coffee and swiped through Derek's onboarding file. Consultant. Caraway. Seeking transition to in-house innovation team. How poetic. Her phone buzzed. Nora. COO, he starts today, 10 a.m. orientation on level 4. Emma replied without hesitation. "Emma, tell HR to reroute him. He'll report directly to me." At 10:07 a.m., Derek arrived at Ironvale wearing his signature smirk, black slacks, designer belt, and the confidence of a man who believed he'd earned a seat at the table. Derek Brooks, a receptionist, called. He nodded, adjusting his watch. "That's me. Excited to get started. Been watching Ironvale for years." She handed him a visitor badge. "You'll be heading upstairs for direct executive orientation." "Wait, what? I thought I was meeting HR on full." "They've been overridden by executive orders. CEO wants to handle it personally." Derek blinked. "The CEO? Really?" He grinned to himself. This is it. Maybe they recognize his brilliance faster than expected. The elevator opened on the 36th floor. He stepped out into silence. Sleek glass doors, immaculate marble floors, minimalist black chairs lining the hallway. A tall assistant gestured toward a corner office. "She's expecting you." "She?" Derek frowned. When he stepped in, the office hit him first. It was enormous, elegant, commanding. Then he saw her. Emma stood behind the desk in a fitted charcoal dress, arms crossed, lips unreadable. "Hello, Mr. Brooks," she said. Derek froze. "Emma." "Mrs. Brooks," she corrected. At least in this building. Derek stood in stunned silence. His eyes darted from Emma to the room. "Wait, this is a joke, right?" "No, please, sit," she said, gesturing toward the guest chair. He slowly lowered himself, heart racing. "You work here?" She gave him a faint smile. "I own this place." He laughed nervously. "Okay, haha. Seriously, what are you doing here?" Emma picked up a tablet and spun it toward him. "Owner, founder, chief executive officer, majority shareholder, and, conveniently, the person who just approved your hiring packet." The color drained from his face. "You're kidding me." She leaned back, voice calm. "No, Derek, I was working every day. You just never paid attention." But I thought you were doing yoga." "Freelancing." "I built Ironvale from a basement and a backup server. My father's legacy funded the seed. I did the rest." He sat speechless, eyes wide. Emma stood and walked around the desk. "You thought I was nothing without you. You were wrong. You are now a probationary contractor reporting directly to me for the next 2 weeks." He swallowed. "Emma, look, this doesn't have to be personal." Emma tilted her head. "Didn't feel that way when you called me useless." "Okay, I was angry. I didn't mean it." "I know exactly what you meant," she interrupted. He fell silent. "Report to Nora at 11. Try not to be late." And just like that, she left him alone, in the office he thought he'd one day own. By noon, Ironvale's internal comms buzzed. From Emma Brooks, subject, executive memo, to all staff, effective immediately, Ironvale will be undergoing leadership evaluations. All contractors and consultants will be reviewed by a newly appointed oversight team. EB. Derek read it 3 times, heartbeat thunderous in his ears. People were talking. He felt it. 2 engineers eyed him near the espresso machine, whispering behind half-smiles. His cube-mate muttered, "Tough first day, huh?" He wanted to storm out. Instead, he pulled out his phone and texted her. "Derek, you've made your point. Can we talk?" No response. "Derek, you're embarrassing me." Still nothing. He scrolled to an old photo of her in his gallery, the one where she was laughing in the rain after their first date. She looked free. She looked happy. He looked around the glass office now. She still looked free. But this time, he wasn't the one who made her feel that way. Derek stormed into Emma's office the following morning, eyes blazing. "You're trying to ruin me," he shouted, slamming the door behind him. Emma didn't flinch. She was seated, calmly scrolling through a tablet. Her black turtleneck and pencil skirt made her look like a modern Cleopatra, composed, in control. "You walked into this building on your own," she said without looking up. He scoffed. "This is about revenge, isn't it? You were always waiting for a moment like this. Hiding in the shadows, playing innocent." Emma slowly raised her gaze to meet his. "I built this company while you slept, while you mocked me, while you told everyone I was nothing. That's not fair." "Isn't it?" She cut in, voice sharp. "You said I was useless. You humiliated me in front of our friends, our family, our home." He paced the room like a cornered animal. "You could have said something, told me who you were. But no, you wanted me to look like a fool." Emma stood, walking toward him slowly. "I kept my success to myself because I wanted a partner. Someone who loved me for who I was, not what I owned. But you failed the test." He shook his head. "You're just bitter. You wanted to trap me in a marriage where you were the one in control. You were the gold digger all along, digging into my pride." Emma stared at him, incredulous. "Derek, you paid half the rent. I paid for the building." Silence. "I never needed your money. I needed your respect." She turned away. "You're dismissed." 2 days later, Emma pulled into the gated driveway of her true home, a glass-wrapped mansion tucked into the Lincoln Park neighborhood, the kind of place that belonged in Forbes. She hadn't been here in months. This was where she used to live before she met Derek, before she chose simplicity over stature. Now, with a marriage behind her, she returned not in defeat, but in power. Inside, the foyer still gleamed. The marble floors stretched beneath the crystal chandelier. She walked through the empty space and exhaled. Home. Her assistant, Malia, arrived 30 minutes later with boxes, clothing, files, books, and a folder marked divorce filing, confidential. Emma opened it and nodded. "He'll receive the papers tomorrow." Malia hesitated. "You sure you want to do this?" Emma looked out the floor-to-ceiling window. "I should have done it a year ago." That night, she poured herself a glass of wine and stepped out onto the balcony. Below, Chicago glowed like a galaxy. From this height, everything looked small, like Derek's insults, his ego, his control. She picked up her phone and posted on LinkedIn. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. EB. By morning, it had 12,000 shares. The next day, Emma's team summoned her into the PR war room. Nora was already at the table, laptop open. On the screen, a headline from a top tech site. Iron Veil Silent Queen, CEO Emma Brooks was married to her own consultant until she fired him. Below the headline were photos of her and Derek from old Instagram posts. One showed them at a gala, smiling. Another, grainy and harsh, showed Derek storming out of the Iron Veil office building. Emma stared at the screen, unmoved. "Damage?" she asked. "None," Nora replied. "If anything, your stock is rising. Women are rallying behind you. Twitter's calling you the chess master wife." Emma nodded. "Schedule a statement. No interviews yet." Derek, however, had no such luck. He woke up to hundreds of missed calls, texts, and emails. "Bro, what the hell happened? You really fumbled a CEO. Man, you had a billionaire wife and treated her like a housemaid." His Instagram was flooded with laughing emojis. TikTok clips were using his old photos with captions like, "When you find out your lazy wife owns a company you just got fired from." He threw his phone against the wall. He was a meme now. Derek showed up at his old bar that night, hoping to find comfort in friends. Marcus and Jamal, his longtime boys, were already there, sipping whiskey. "You look like hell," Jamal said bluntly. Derek dropped onto the stool. "I need a drink." "First, you need a reality check," Marcus said. "What the hell were you thinking, man?" "Bro, I didn't know she owned Iron Veil," Derek snapped. "You didn't know because you never asked," Marcus shot back. "You were always flexing on her. You never even listened." Derek rubbed his temples. "Everyone's talking like I'm some villain." "You kinda are," Jamal shrugged. "You embarrassed her, mocked her, in public." "She humiliated me too," Derek argued. Marcus shook his head. "She humiliated your ego. There's a difference." They sat in silence for a moment. "Was she always like that?" Jamal asked. Derek nodded slowly. "She was always smart, quiet, observant, but I thought she was just soft." Marcus leaned in. "You mistook grace for weakness." That hit Derek harder than any article. 3 days later, Emma was in her office reviewing Q2 projections when Nora entered. "Here's Hay." Emma looked up. "Derek." Nora nodded. "Says he wants to talk. In private." Emma hesitated. "Let him in." A minute later, Derek stood before her, hair unkempt, suit wrinkled, a defeated man. "I didn't come to fight," he said quietly. Emma watched him. "I came to apologize." She raised an eyebrow. "You've had months." "I didn't understand before. Now I do." She said nothing. "I get it now. Why you hid it. Why you walked away. You were testing me, and I failed." Emma closed her laptop. "I wasn't testing you. I was surviving you." He looked down. "I miss you," he said. She sighed. "Missing someone doesn't mean they're meant for you." "I want to make things right." Emma tilted her head. "You can start by making peace with who you really are." He looked at her, desperate. "Is there anything I can do?" She paused. "Thought. Actually," she said, "there is." Derek sat in his apartment. Smaller, cheaper, and far removed from the sleek penthouse he once shared with Emma. It was the kind of place that hummed with quiet loneliness. The TV played in the background, but he wasn't watching. His reflection stayed back at him from the dark screen. All he saw was a man who had everything, and lost it because he couldn't see what was in front of him. His phone buzzed. A notification from YouTube. CEO wife turns the tables on arrogant husband. Viral drama explained. He didn't click. He couldn't. He stewed and walked to the mirror. He looked older, angrier, sadder. He remembered the version of Emma he used to mock, the one in cozy robes making tea, typing silently in her office. He had mocked her silence, and that silence had become the storm that wiped him out. He closed his eyes. "Damn it," he whispered. A knock on the door. He opened it to find a delivery boy holding a single white envelope. "From Iron Veil," the boy said. Inside was a formal letter with a business card clipped to it. Subject: probationary role offer. Acceptance required within 48 hours. Position: executive training consultant. Entry level. Supervisor: Emma Brooks. His heart dropped. She was giving him a second chance. But not as a husband. As a subordinate. 2 days later, Iron Veil employees gathered in the glass atrium for the quarterly town hall. Reporters were present. So were investors. The cameras rolled. Emma stood on stage in a sharp emerald suit, a calm presence among the crowd. "Before we begin," she said into the MIC, "there's something that needs to be said. Not by me, but by someone else." A murmur swept the room. Derek stepped forward from the side, dressed in a black shirt and gray slacks. No tie, no arrogance. He took the MIC. The room fell still. "I used to think I knew what strength looked like." He began. "I thought it was loud, dominant, in control." He looked at Emma. "But I learned the hard way that real strength is quiet. It builds in silence, and it forgives when it doesn't have to." He turned back to the crowd. I misjudged someone who gave me love, respect, and space. I mocked her. I tried to dim her light because I didn't understand it. He swallowed, and when I finally saw it, it was too late. Emma didn't react, but everyone else did. Applause broke out. Some slow, some shocked. A few gasps, a few tears. Derek bowed slightly. I thank Iron Vale, and especially our CEO, for giving me this opportunity. I hope I prove that I can be better. He handed back the MIC and stepped down. Later that day, Derek received his employee ID. Department, Strategy and Operations. Title, Training Consultant, Provisional. Supervisor, E. Brooks. He reported to the lowest floor. No glass office, just open desks and steel chairs. But he showed up. He stayed late, listened, took notes, asked questions. Some co-workers mocked him quietly. Others respected the humility. A week later, he found a small gift box on his desk. Inside, a pen with Emma Brooks, founder, engraved on the side. There was also a sticky note. For when you're ready to write your next chapter, not mine, yours. He stared at it for a long time. He didn't know if she still loved him, but he knew this was the kindest closure he'd ever receive. Months passed. Derek rose through the ranks, not quickly, but steadily. He became known for his precision, his ability to train junior analysts, and, surprisingly, his emotional intelligence. But one day, something unexpected happened. He was called to the 36th floor. Emma was waiting in the conference room. She gestured to the chair. I have a proposal, she said. He sat quietly, cautious. We're launching a mentorship initiative, she continued, and I want you to lead it. He blinked. Me? You've learned it more in the past 6 months than most people learn in a decade. I need someone who's lived a lesson, not just studied it. He looked into her eyes. There was warmth there, but not romance. Respect. I don't know what to say, he murmured. Say yes, she replied. And do better. He nodded. Yes. She smiled, just a little. Then let's begin. 6 months later, Emma sat across from a podcast host, microphone before her, headphones on. The episode was titled, Silent Strength, a CEO's Journey Through Betrayal, Power, and Forgiveness. The host leaned in. So, Emma, if you could go back to the moment your husband called you useless, what would you do differently? Emma smiled. I wouldn't change a thing, she said. The host raised a brow. Really? Yes, Emma said. Because pain is a sculptor. It chisels away the parts of us that were built for other people's comfort. What's left is truth. Power. He paused. And what would you say to people who are doubted, dismissed, silenced? Emma looked straight into the camera. I'd say, stay quiet. Keep building. Let them laugh. And then, she smiled again. Watch what happens next. The screen faded to black. Roll credits.